So for those of you that are lucky enough to have elves, visit your home during this time of the year, again, lucky. I love that for you. I'm so sorry for the people who don't get to have that. That's sad. But I really do hope that your elves are not as mischievous as our elves because today I woke up to a whole big mess in my kitchen. The elves had gotten into the flour and decided that they wanted to try to make some cookies, I guess. And so there's flour everywhere. They were doing snow angels. We have 5 elves, by the way, because they had children. It's become this whole thing. Like that we're journeying with them over the 11 years of them being our elves. And anyway, they were all making snow angels out of the flour and they broke some eggs on the floor. And so I've been cleaning up messes this morning for my mischievous elves. I love that. It's so much fun. I am going to actually be telling you how to fix a mess and clean up a mess on your soap after it's already saponified today. So see, it's related while making a gingerbread latte soap. So not cookie, but gingerbread. So it's kind of related there too. I'll tell you more about it all in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I'm Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudzers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you're here for day 8. Just 17 more days until those elves go back to the North Pole of soapy Soapmas 31 days of Project Soapmas. Yeah, that. And today we are making a gingerbread latte soap. It is a 2-part process within the gingerbread latte, so I am going to talk to you about how I split up my batch and, kind of what I use, because this is for one of my wholesale accounts. It's for A Drop in the Ocean. You know her. You love her. I love using all of her footage because she lets me for these things, And, but we are also going to, in the cut, show you how I fix some soda ash problems. Because I know we're always talking about, ways to do that. You put your soap to bed and you come in the next day and there's stuff, and sometimes it's crumbly stuff. And what even is soda ash? Well, we're going to talk about that. What even is soda ash? And we're going to talk about the way that I fix it. And it's not steaming, it's not washing, it's not spraying it with rubbing alcohol. This is my favorite way to fix soda ash, to get rid of it, so these bars can start their curing process, finish up saponification, do the things, and they don't have any weird, residual weirdness. So let's get to the video, and we're going to do all of those things, which actually seems like a lot. So I hope that I manage to hit all the things I claimed I'm gonna. Okay, so it is gingerbread latte day, and I'm super excited about it. This is a soap for A Drop in the Ocean. We love her. We know her. You can go over to the website and try to get stuff, but I don't know. I really don't know. She messaged me a couple days ago and put in a new order and was like, how quickly can I get some of this? Because I'm out of stock on everything. And she also did say the red dish is out of stock too. So that's a big bummer. Anyway, we are making the gingerbread latte, and I'm going to show you because the end result of this ended up with a ton of soda ash all over it because this was not a soap that I C-popped or gelled for, reasons that I will talk about later. But there was a ton of soda ash on the top of all of these, and they were just messy, just so messy. And I know that you guys have experienced that in your soaping journey, right? Like you go and you make this beautiful soap, and then you go and unwrap it and get ready to cut, and it's just messy, and it's not fun. And so I thought I would show you how I work with fresh soda ash on freshly cut soaps in all of this. But first up, we should actually talk about what soda ash is, right? Soda ash, the actual chemical formulation right there, Na2CO3. Well, what is that? What does that mean? Well, Na is sodium, C is carbon, O is oxygen. Yeah? You with me yet? Right. So this is a sodium carbonate. That's what soda ash actually is. Now, we know sodium carbonate. We love sodium carbonate. We know that it exists within like detergents and all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Some people use them in your bath bombs. In their bath bombs, cough, cough, lush. You know, we've played with it as far as making, toilet bombs. We played with it there. We played with it within bath bombs, within bubble bars, I think. It's great for laundry detergent. It's an alkaline, substance that gets clothes cleaner, that is also used to make glass. It's a whole thing. Sodium carb. That's what soda ash is. And so this is a naturally occurring version of sodium carb as a result of unsaponified lye making its way to the surface, or if you have a very lye heavy batch, throughout the entirety, because it gets weird and different with anyway, unsaponified lye essentially reacting to carbon dioxide in the air. So the air. So unsaponified lye that reacts with the carbon dioxide in the air forms soda ash, forms sodium carbonate, which I don't know why we don't just call it sodium carbonate. You know what I mean? But anyway, I always wonder, or I think one of the questions that people should always have really is, well, why did soda ash happen? Like, why did it happen to this batch and not to the other batch? And quite honestly, I don't have like a real scholarly answer for you. I can just give my thoughts because it's not one of those things that matter, right? It's a complete aesthetic thing. It's easy-ish to get off unless you have some really rough and, ragged tops. And then so it's kind of hard to steam or to use rubbing alcohol or to just wash, which is probably the best way to get it off, but then you've washed your soaps. But anyway, I always assume that the reason why I get soda ash, because I don't get it for everything, is because I have a batch that didn't fully hit an emulsion before I started pouring, which I think is absolutely true in this case. If you look at the soap that's coming out of the Pyrex there, you see the graininess. It's not accelerating, it's not ricing, it's separating. That's separating because I had a very light hand with my stir stick, and I definitely did a lot of stirring with my actual whisk in order to get the clays and everything incorporated, but it didn't take a lot, and I'm not working with essential oils or anything that's going to accelerate and do anything weird. And so I was actually thinking as I was pouring this, yeah, I think maybe I didn't actually quite hit emulsion before I started working. And I usually don't worry about that. As I said in a video a couple days ago, I tend to work at a near emulsion with most of my soap pours anyway for complicated ones, because I know that with all of the working time and all the stirring that I'm going to continue to do throughout the longer pours, that it's going to continue to get whisked in, and it's all going to be fine. But realistically, the lye is for the most part going to take the path of least resistance, and it's going to go ahead and do its saponification thing. But again, every time that I do end up with my soda ash, I do assume that it's from a batch of soap that I didn't quite hit an emulsion on, maybe it was a little bit too thin, and it still turns into soap, so that's good. But with all of that, I guess the bigger thing, because it is an aesthetic thing, it's not really impacting your soap at all. I believe, I want to say Anne Marie did an article on it at some point, like, I don't know, like 7, 8, 9 years ago on her blog about it, and they tested it, or maybe it was Saponification Nation, I'm not sure, but it's just such a slight amount of the lye that's been unsaponified that ends up as your soda ash that it's not a big deal as far as your actual batch of soap goes. And again, is a completely aesthetic thing, but it can be an unsightly aesthetic thing. And so that's what we are going to show in this, the unsightly, though we don't like it. It's not a pretty thing at all after I finish pouring this. And like I said, this is not getting C-popped or gelled. If I C-pop or gel my soaps that are even not quite at an emulsion, I still don't end up with soda ash. So there's a thought there. cut, and these are so shiny, so beautiful. I love them so much. Now, for the actual colors for these, because again, a drop in the ocean does not do any sort of micas or anything. For the clays that I use, you know, quote unquote clays, I use a little bit of alkanet, a little bit of yellow dock, and a lot of rasul in the, you know, brownish goldy portions. And as a result, I don't know, I found that it's just not worth it or necessary at all to C-pop or gel these guys. And so I kind of don't. Now, these soaps are being cut, like 9-10 hours after they were poured. And you could see from the outside when I showed you the lobes before I'd cut them up, how smooth and shiny the bottom, the edges are, the sides. So essentially the butterscotch-ish colors there, right? These will continue to darken up, by the way, and go into a gingerbread, you know, color. But the really part that I have a problem with is up top. It's crumbly. You see that? It's just so not fun for me. It's very, very crumbly. The white was you know, arguably, if you looked at the pour and everything, it was the bit that got the least love. It wasn't getting mixed up. It wasn't getting mixed with other, you know, soap batter. It was just getting left alone for a not very long time, because this is a very easy pour. It doesn't take a lot of time to do it. And then, you know, poured on top. And so, and also no scent ends up in it. So it gets a lot less whisking time. And so as a result, yeah, no, it's real crumbly. I'd say that there's definitely an emulsion issue going on up top, and I don't like it. I think it's pretty ugly. But as soon as I saw that, I decided that it was time to cut these bars right away, because then I can use, obviously, not only my trick of making sure that all the little drag marks from the cutter can be removed because the soap is so soft, but a little trick that I have involving oil. So I just actually take oil to the tops of all of my soaps that don't have, or that have issues with this crumbly weirdness. And I just take some coconut oil just to the top right there. Just do the thing, smooth everything out. Putting more oil onto it, especially while it's this fresh, I found that the soap itself actually absorbs that oil, and the soda ash goes away. It's very, very nice. I don't know if this is something that you guys have done before, or if you've thought to do it, but yeah, it's just kind of, you know, the hair of the dog, effectively, you know. And I just put the oil on all of the little edges to make it not crumbly anymore, and it cleans everything up, because this is one of the soaps that would be really difficult to just steam all the stuff off, or, you know, do the rubbing alcohol or whatever with the soda ash, because it is a textured top and it's just unsightly. And I know it seems like it's not unsightly because we're on camera or whatever and it's white, but I mean, up close, it's a big old mess. And so that's what I do. I just take some extra oil to it, and it works really beautifully. So yeah, tell me if you do that, because that would be interesting to know for sure. I don't know. I can't be the only person out there that does that. I might be, though. I tend to get overly familiar with my soap sometimes, you know? I still love looking at and inspecting every single bar of soap that gets cut. I love cut day. I love to cut the soaps, and I do still. There's never been a day, not one day ever, that I haven't done a version of this to every single soap that gets cut, that I cut. I'm not just grabbing them off of the, you know, the cutter and just putting them right on the tray to start curing. I look at them all. I just love them. I love soap. And so, I don't know. Do you guys do that? Now I'm feeling really weird. Listen, 31 Days of Soapmas isn't supposed to be, you know, some sort of more big reveals about Mrs. Soap and Clay's secret shames and crap. She is super, super in love with her soaps. But I am. They're very nice. And yeah, you should try this trick. If you have tried this trick, tell me. I want to know. If you haven't tried this trick, try it and then tell me. I want to know. But these soaps were rough. It was so rough. There was something that was in a video a couple days ago that we're not talking about. We have yet to talk about. We're not going to talk about it. It's not a thing. It doesn't exist. But the reason why that it's not a thing, it doesn't exists, is because I was cutting the final of all of the wholesale accounts for the Christmas lines for everybody, for all of my wholesale accounts. And every single cutter that I had, it breathed its last. And so I finally got to the point where I had to do something about it. And this is just the remains of the day. At some point, I had a cutter that had 2 strings left on it. It was cutting 2 bars at a time. In the middle of the busy season with all of the... Yup. And so we had to do something about that, but I don't know what I'm talking about. That thing doesn't exist. It's not a thing, and we're not talking about it. Because it was always the plan to actually really showcase that in year 4. So we're just going to pretend like it doesn't exist. Thank you. But that's why those drag marks are there. Because the old cutters were messed up. I had to have a funeral for them, you know? It was a whole thing. Well, I didn't really. But, you know, I did pour one out for all the old soap cutters. Because even the old one, the prototype from, like, I don't know, Mr. Soap and Clay made that like 8 years ago. Yeah, it died too. It's all gone. Rip cutters. But soda ash, tops, oil. Put more oil on them. Because that way, if you're worried about the soda ash because the lye isn't saponified, you know what I mean? You put more oil on it, it could work. What do you think? Am I onto something, or am I just psychobabbling more so than usual? So first up, those soaps are so super cute. I love making these, and I love just the different color variations that I'm going to get because of the different essential oil blends and everything with all of it, and being cognizant of that in the process, and also, you know, the multi-pour stage. It's a lot of fun for me. Way more fun for me to film this because it was just the 3 things that I decided to film for this instead of trying to go full ham and give you like, I don't know, 12 or something. It was a lot when somebody asked for a big batch. So there's that. That was fun. But also, yeah, when you're cleaning everything up, this is one of the reasons I cut my soaps so early. Now, because they are very malleable, so you can easily just use, you know, your finger or rag or whatever to bevel your edges, give it a nice natural bevel, fix up any sort of blemishes that may have occurred because of the cutter, all the jazz. But also, yeah, you just have some oil on hand and you rub it on the soaps as you're cleaning them off and inspecting them, making sure that they're all fine. And because saponification is not complete because of what soda ash is, that's going to start absorbing into the soap and it's going to cure out and it's going to be beautiful. So that's my recommendation if you are a person who cuts their soaps, you know, within 24 hours of pouring. And that's me. So it works for me. Did you guys know that? Do you do that? Talk to me about it. What do you guys do for soda ash if not that? Because I'm interested in other methods and techniques all the time. Like, this is not the only way that I do it. This is just kind of my favorite way. And yeah, so tell me. I like trying new things. I would love that. Sudsers, you guys are my people. And I love you. And you are always experimenting with new things. But the mainstay and the staple is you're always here in the Sudser community, being a part of my life. And I appreciate that so much. Thank you for letting me be a part of yours in all of the many ways that you let me do so. Thank you. I appreciate you. I just said that a lot, but I do. To all the rest, soapandclay.com, it exists. It's getting too close to the, you know, Christmas date, but you can order. You can still get it by Christmas. There's not a lot left. That's a thing. The join and the membership, it's in the description box. If you want to do that, you can do the membership. Then you get into Discord. Then you get to participate in Project Soapway. That's all thing too. That's it for me today. I'm gonna go finish cleaning up and maybe give those elves a stern talking to and let them know that this kind of mischievous action is not at all appreciated in my kitchen. Because I'm the one who wakes up first, you know, so I'm the one who has to wake up to that mess. And then I just have to leave it there until the kids wake. It's a moment. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of 31 days of Soapmas. Soapy fun. Bye.